Okay, welcome to our ABM webinar with Bombora. We're so excited that you're here. Welcome, welcome. If you're here, it's likely because you are a marketer in the B2B space. Maybe you're interested in account-based marketing. Maybe you're interested in starting some account-based marketing initiatives, or maybe you already are versed in account-based marketing and are curious to learn more about how you can tap into intent data to even further enhance your strategies. Either way, we're so grateful to have you here. My name is Brianna, and you're in the right spot if all of the above applies to you. We at Full Circle Insights are very, very grateful to be presenting alongside Bombora. Gabrielle Warford is going to be speaking to the topic of intent data in more granular facets. So we'll tell you more about Gab in a few slides over in introductions, but just wanted to tee that up for you here. We'll dive into it. We'll get right into the presentation. So grab your notebook, grab your coffee, whatever you need to get settled here, and we'll dive right in. Okay, so some housekeeping items, what you can expect. So this webinar is recorded. You will get an email with the recording after this webinar. So you have that in your back pocket should you need, if you want to reference later on, if you want to share with your colleagues, you'll have that for reference. All attendees are muted for the webinar itself. So sorry about that, but we do include questions. We encourage questions, and we do have a Q&A section at the end of this webinar. So as you're watching the information, if you do have any questions come up, we do encourage that you send those via the chat box for our live Q&A section. We do have a member of our Full Circle team, Gavin Griffiths, who will be joining us for the live Q&A alongside Gabriella. So we are very excited to have you learn from them. And Gavin is just a great guy. He's our business analyst here at Full Circle Insights. He's also very versed when it comes to marketing analytics and marketing measurement. So very excited that you'll be able to learn from him as well. So that's quick housekeeping for us here. An agenda. So we'll walk through some quick introductions so you know who we are and what we'll be talking about. Gabriella will then walk through why we need to incorporate intent data within our ABM strategies, why that is crucial, and also the 5 ways that intent data can further enhance your ABM strategy. And then I will go ahead and follow up with measurement in terms of ABM campaign performance, specifically within your funnel. So, and then we'll open it up for a live Q&A. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to add them in the chat. You could be helping someone else who maybe has a question who doesn't submit it. So we're looking forward to hearing your questions. And we'll do a quick introduction. So again, we're so excited to have Gabriella Warford here. She's the head of ABM and field marketing at Bombora. She's here to talk to us about intent data. We're very, very grateful that she's here speaking on these topics together. So here's Gabriella.
Thanks, Brianna. Super happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Of course. And then myself, I will be speaking later on in the presentation after Gabriella talks through intent data, talking through measurement in terms of your funnel for your account-based marketing efforts. Okay, so with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Gabriella, and she'll dive into the topic of intent data.
And then you want to pause that.
Pause it. Oh, here. Pause record.
Thank you, Brianna. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to go through kind of how we leverage intent data here at Bombora and provide some use cases on that. But first, what is Bombora? So for those who don't know Bombora, I just like to do like a quick, high-level overview. Our product, you'll hear the word intent data a lot today. So first and foremost, our product, company surge intent data, tells you which businesses are researching the products and services that you and your competitors sell. So this is how Bombora helps our customers, marketing and sales leaders alike, prioritize their resources to generate more leads, more pipeline opportunities, and so on. So our data is unique in that it's from other type of intent data providers, is that it comes from the largest cooperative of B2B publisher websites. So these sites contain specific content that is relevant for B2B marketer and sales teams. So it's really high quality data for people who want to know what other businesses are researching as it relates to their products and services or those of their competitors. You could just see some stats here from the size of our co-op, the unique content consumption on events, how many domains we monitor, how many topics we track. And then the big call is it's also GDPR compliant, which I know is really important for enterprise orgs alike. We're also different from other intent data providers in that we use natural language processing engines to determine the context of content rather than just simply scraping keywords. So a common example used is that we can tell the difference between Apple, the tech company, versus Apple, the fruit, where a lot of other intent data providers cannot. We also have a best-in-class proprietary business identity mapping that accurately connects the right content consumption behavior to the right business. We do this in a couple ways, one being IP to domain matching, another being opt-in login data from publishers. All in all, we use these data sets to be as accurate as possible when we are identifying which accounts are doing that research or content consumption. And then finally, those content consumption patterns are measured against an historic baseline. So we track what normal consumption is because, it's important to identify that people are naturally researching on and on. But it's also important to not just take any of that research as a signal that an account is in market. So when that amount of research increases dramatically and is most likely being done by a couple people within an org, not just one person, we identify that as a research spike, and that's what we call a company surge. This is a signal that's portable, which is awesome into most systems of record. So it's that signal that can sit within integrations that we've built like Salesforce, Marketo, HubSpot, and about 35 plus other channel partners. So why you need to incorporate intent data within your ABM strategy, what we're here for. Two main callouts that I'll go through. The first and foremost is that when there are buying committees, ABM is needed. We know that the buying process now includes a ton of stakeholders. Decisions are being made by buying committees in most cases, which means that companies need to sell to entire business units, not individuals. So here's some Forrester research to back that. It's becoming more prevalent within the B2B space are these buying committees. And the chart on the left, you'll see that in 2019, about 34% of individuals classified themselves or made independent purchases, whereas now we're seeing about only 18% of buyers make independent purchases. Similarly, the chart on the right, in 2019, only 48% considered themselves to be decision makers, whereas now we're seeing about 60% of B2B buyers classify themselves as decision makers. So where does intent data sit within this whole thing? It's important to nurture, cater, sell to a larger audience. And you need to, in that case, make messaging relevant, top of mind, and timely to entire business units, not just one person. So there's more complexity as it relates to the buying cycle. The next reason and call out of why you need to incorporate intent data within your ABM strategy is we know that research is being done before anyone is talking to sales leaders. And that's why intent data will tell you what is up and where to act. In most cases, people like to do their own research. They rely on reports, analysts' research, articles that sit outside of your website, and you lose visibility when it's not being done. We have, triggers or signals as when somebody downloads an ebook, a form, is reaching out to salespeople or talking to these folks at conferences. All of that sits within your database. What you don't know is what's outside of view. And that's where third-party intent data provides that visibility into who's doing research outside of your website. So here's some more Forrester data that just relates to that whole self-guided versus personal interactions. This is charted by phase. So those first two phases within a buying scenario being education and solution, the early stages of research, you can see that self-guided interactions are slightly more important than personal interactions. Self-guided interactions being the online and offline consumption that individuals are doing on their own, whereas personal interactions are those peer-to-peer, you're talking to a provider. Overall, you're looking at about 55% of total interactions are self-guided, versus 45% are personal. And that applies towards both the education and solution-based phase of a buying cycle. As you move later into a stage of a buying phase, the selection phase, there is more reliance on a sales rep or more of those peer-to-peer. And you're looking at about a 50-50 split almost in terms of how much engagement you see from personal versus self-guided. So yeah, again, this is just to highlight that those early stages of purchasing are all within your own research. And then later on is when you actually reach out to sales. Intent data gives you that visibility into seeing that early on research being done from a self-guided perspective. Another Forrester-backed research is by scenario based. So we're looking here as the complexity of a scenario increases, which means likely the sales cycle is more strategic or there is a higher price tag for the item. The buying scenario is more reliant on, again, that whole self-guided versus personal. So you'll see in the independent stakes that there are more interactions that take place. I think it was, let's see, 23, 23 are from an independent scenario, whereas when there's consensus and committee-based buying scenarios, you're looking at more interactions, 26 to 30. Recommendation here is just that you need to plan for a more interactive buying cycle now that people are more reliant on consensus-based buying or committee-based buying. There's more need for information to be sought after, exchanged. So it's important to identify your champion within those buying committees. And now you are messaging and engaging with not just one person, but additional decision makers. And you need to time your content, your messaging, everything so that it's relevant, top of mind, and helpful at the end of the day. All right, so now let's talk through 5 ways intent data can enhance your ABM strategy. I'm going to go through all 5 of these individually, but as a whole, these are 5 ways that we at Bombora leverage intent data within our ABM program. So the first way intent data can help with your ABM is simply put, prioritizing your accounts. So these are the accounts that sales should be focused on because they're the ones that are showing high interest in your product or services, or interest in your competitors' product and services. Obviously, there's going to be accounts that you want your sales guys to focus on year round. These are often called your whale accounts. But a lot of people are using intent data to prioritize additional accounts into that focus set so that marketer and sales leaders can take a more dynamic approach to understanding these accounts and ultimately sell to them like more sophisticatedly because they have that high signal. So you can also do the alternative to that, or rather than prioritizing, you're deprioritizing. These are accounts that aren't showing signals that they are in market, and you want to wait until they are. You obviously wouldn't ignore those accounts, flat out. You still want to market to them through like awareness or nurture campaigns. But for the accounts that have these high intent signals, these are the ones you want your salespeople engaged with and spending their time on. These are the accounts that you want to invest your like one-to-one like ABM programs or one-to-few or those marketing dollars towards because of the higher conversion ratio for a closed one. Another way you can use intent data is to see what an account is most interested in. So this is super helpful for sales and marketing teams and for ABM teams as well, because let's say, for example, you have multiple different products. You'll see here cybersecurity as the topics on the right. They often have a ton of product offerings. Well, you have all these product offerings that you can sell to multiple people. Intent data gives you that clue into which one an account may be most interested in at first. So rather than offering your whole menu option right off the bat, you could really come in with messaging that's like, this is our special. Hey, this is a product or service that can address the challenge you're facing at this given point in time. And we can speak on the other stuff later on, but it's that entry point into the conversation, and you can leverage intent data or that topic as your entry point. It can also give you a clue within a larger organization, enterprise specifically, to see who is doing the research. So for example, here at Bombora, if we see research is being done on marketing campaigns, lead scoring, email marketing, campaign optimization, all that jazz, then we know that it's likely somebody within the marketing ops team or the marketing org who's doing the research, trying to solve a pain point for one of their divisions, right? We would then approach them with messaging like, hey, intent data can help you with lead scoring. So determining what topic an account is interested in is really valuable to helping build that campaign orchestration as a whole. Similarly, you can create content based off of these topics. So you can get really sophisticated with how you sell from a topic or a content perspective. So there's some examples, provided here, but you can create ads, landing pages, all of this type of content related to the topic. So if an account is showing interest in this case, like enterprise marketing, they would get ads, landing pages, maybe email banners, etc., that are related to that topic. The intensity of the research is also something that can help you guide you on the sophistication of your messaging. So somebody who is just beginning their research based on that historic baseline, you wouldn't send them, or you wouldn't have your sales rep reach out providing configuration documentation for integrations. It's a lot of words, but you get what I'm saying. It's you don't give that as your entry point. Instead, if you see that they're doing research on your competitors or on, a pain point that your product addresses, you would deliver up a competitive battle card or specific use case to help. So again, at Bombora, an example here is like if we saw somebody doing research on lead scoring, they're going to get ads for lead scoring, emails about lead scoring, and messaging that maybe we'll invite them to a workshop where we're addressing how to improve lead scoring and so on. Okay, so the fourth area where intent data can apply to your ABM strategy is breaking into new lines of your existing customer base. So because these accounts already exist as customers, doesn't mean you want to pay attention. You don't want to pay attention to their research. Intent data gives you that lens into your existing customer base and to see what they're showing intent data on or intent on. So it's a great way to monitor to see if they're researching additional products or services that you may offer that they may not be fully aware that you offer. Another example it gives is that it gives your CS team an opportunity to kind of get into the conversation earlier. So you see a spike in a specific topic of a product that you sell, and they're not necessarily leveraging that tool. Your CS org can reach out and say, hey, it looks like there's interest from the sales enablement team. I know that we're already talking with the marketing team, but if we can help your sales enablement team to maximize this partnership, we would be happy to help. So yeah, it's that entry point through your CS because of the visibility it's giving you from your existing customer base. And that's how you can extend into different product or subsidiaries within an account. A little less positive is the churn risk. So you could see in this image that there are 2 accounts that are red flagged. Intent data is helpful when it comes from a signal perspective for churn prevention. So you can see if an account is showing heavy research on competitors of yours. It's that signal that you don't want to take lightly, and that's when you can do whatever you can really to prevent the risk of churn. And then finally, one of my favorites, because I have a love for events, but if you have a sophisticated field strategy, intent data can help you understand where best to focus when it comes to specific events. So the way this works is that, let's say you are hosting an event in, I'll use the Bay Area because that's where Brianna and I are both located. You have like 15 whale accounts in that area that you want to invite. It's likely you need to double, triple, or quadruple your invite list, depending on your conversion ratios, to get those people to attend. So what you can do with intent data is you can run a report on those target accounts within that area and see what they're researching. And then you could build your agenda in hopes of attracting an aligned group of attendees based on this topic of common interest. So like I said, this data can get pulled geographically, which is awesome. And then you can build your content and package it in with other ABM programs, like an ABM direct mailer with an invite, just to spark interest and attendance. Similarly, our intent data can help when it comes to budgeting and planning for large corporate events. We know a lot of money is invested into trade shows and conferences, and if you aren't seeing an impact from a business perspective, then those dollars may be better spent elsewhere. So what my mentor taught me is every time after a conference, run a surge report. See how many accounts that attended that conference have shown a spike of interest across your brand or your products. You can usually get an account list of attendees from conferences. It's called a sample list. And you just use those company names and see where spikes took place as they relate to the company names. I usually do this in the days, the weeks, and the months following a show to see if our presence at that show was justified. You get typical information like case study attendees, booth scans, what else? Lead list from conferences. But what you don't get is that third-party view of who's researching your company outside of your website. And that's really where intent data helps provide that visibility and helps when it comes to planning out the following years where, I'm not going to spend my money at this conference because I didn't see much, or vice versa. Let's double down and invest more. So yes, those are the 5 ways, like I said, that we use our data as well as all of our customers when it comes to our company surge intent data. I'll provide a quick kind of lens into our ABM program, just to see sort of how we tier it. I'll just scan through this really quick. So you'll see at the top, we call these our Big Kahuna accounts. It's very fitting within our brand. They're not our whales, they're our Big Kahuna accounts. These accounts are the must-win accounts. They're being monitored. The topics we relate to these accounts are being monitored throughout the year. They're kind of forever in our pipeline, but these are the accounts that get the most flavor of ABM, field, SDR, partner, AE, and CS as much as we can. We often build one-to-one like ABM campaigns for the key decision makers that exist within these accounts. And they're the ones who, will get that personalized catered direct mail gift, an invite to an exclusive event, and so on. The next tier down are enterprise target accounts that work their way into priority tier zones based on their intent signal, their ICP score, and their engagement signals. And then the last is our target accounts. These are kind of all of our accounts that get the one-to-many treatment from an ABM perspective. They are constantly in our awareness programs, our nurture campaigns, and our programmatic ads. So it's important to call out just because of how we structure things here. It's quite fluid. If an AE comes to me and says that we have an enterprise target account, but they are hitting all the right check marks, and they're the size of an org that can fit within our Big Kahuna list, it's not to say that we won't pull them up and then start nurturing them a little more aggressively from an ABM one-to-one perspective. But yeah, this is our ABM program at Bombora. And with that, and giving you a little leeway back into Brianna, and she's going to go through measuring account activation.
Thank you so much, Gabriella, for that incredible presentation around intent data. I learned a lot. I learned so much. So thank you for sharing that. And I hope everyone who is viewing this was able to as well. Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about account activation. And we'll dive right in from the perspective of Full Circle Insights. So first step with account activation, Bombora does an incredible job at identifying those accounts that are actively engaging with the topics that are connected with your product or service, right? So for account-based marketing, that is absolutely crucial. Another step then moving forward is all account activation. So maybe you've heard of account activation, maybe you haven't. Let's dive into it together here now. At a glance, essentially, account activation speaks to when multiple people from an account is engaging with content on your website. So for us at Full Circle, we identify account activation within the engage stage of your funnel, and we'll walk through that together in a few slides in more detail. But essentially, this activation tipping point can differ from company by company, and as Full Circle, we can configure based off of your own preferences. So this can be an engagement either one time or several times within your marketing content. It can be downloading a white paper. It can be submitting a form fill so that they can request a demo, right? So this is something we can configure based off of your own preferences. But this activation truly is the focus for marketers, specifically within account-based marketing. So how are we tracking and measuring account activation throughout the funnel? So what is Full Circle? What is Full Circle ABM in terms of account activation? From a very high level, we're a marketing measurement tool, a native app within Salesforce that helps you with your ABM strategies. So we have a variety of different dashboards I'll get into later on. And we help marketers measure every step in your account funnel. So marrying marketing and sales together with your target account list, helping you track many different metrics, including volume across each of the stages within your funnel, velocity, and conversion rates. So that is a high level. So now that we've walked through that, let's talk about the framework, the standard framework when it comes to account activation across your funnel. And so we are leveraging the Forrester B2B revenue waterfall. And I'm going to walk this through bit by bit with you together. You'll see some lines here. We'll walk through each of the stages together. Many of you probably are familiar with the Forrester B2B revenue waterfall. Waterfalls are very common in our field. You might recognize the Forrester waterfall. It was previously derived from Serious Decisions, but we all know that Serious Decisions, Forrester was acquired by Serious Decisions. So this is the 2021 revenue waterfall. We'll walk through this together. As a frame of reference, when you are measuring your ABM efforts through the funnel. So the first thing you do, right, we want to do is define our target market, making sure that we are in line with our ICP, working with sales, as Gabriella mentioned too, making sure we are in lockstep with sales on our list of target accounts and who it is, what accounts specifically we want to target, and ensuring that they are in alignment with our ICP. The next thing we do is create awareness and detect active buying groups. So Gabriella did a great job of describing the buying groups as well earlier in her presentation. So if you are unfamiliar, right, buying groups essentially are the people at those accounts who are actively, who can play a huge role in creating a close for that account for you, right? So we're not just marketing to one person, we're marketing to many different people. There are buying groups within these target accounts that we are getting after for the quarter, so, or year. The third thing that we do is to attract and engage these buying group members. This is something that is in correlation with the detected stage of the waterfall, which we'll get into briefly. And that's where intent data is really, really crucial when it comes to your ABM measurement. It plays a huge role. And then going through this, we have associate and prioritize those buying groups, making sure we're tracking engagements across the board, and then passing this over to sales. We have an opportunity to qualify those early stage opportunities, validate the needs, accelerate opportunities to pipeline, and then of course, our sales team then moves forward and aligns those solutions and accelerates deals to close. So this is kind of our action items that we do here, and then how this correlates to the waterfall itself. So step one, right, this correlates directly to our targeted accounts. Step two, creating awareness and detecting those active buying groups, specifically within those target accounts, are in relation to the targeted opportunities. Now, if you look at the waterfall over here, this is in relation to your candidates and current customers. Again, Gabriella mentioned the importance of current customers as well. So in this frame, right, you either are, you have acquisition, right? So new accounts that you'd like to, that are on your target account list, or what accounts of our current customers can we potentially move through retention, upsell, or cross-sell, right? The third stage, that attraction and engaging those buying group members. So this is where the detected stage comes into play. And that's where intent data can be very, very useful. And I'll walk through specifically within Full Circle how intent data correlates with your measurement within your CRM, specifically in Full Circle in Salesforce. But this is where we get to take that list of target accounts, and then using Bombora data, we're able to then see of that list of target accounts who is actually engaged in our content and who is actually interested in researching topics that are surrounding our product or service. And then we'll dive into it deeper later. But and then finally, the engage stage too. For a marketer, this is huge for us, right? So are people downloading maybe an ebook that we presented, right? Are people engaging with our content? How is the account moving through the funnel? And this is where we can also really optimize against our campaigns and see, what campaigns are actually working for us, what campaigns are driving revenue in the end, and ultimately where should we cut so that we can be smart with our marketing decisions. So this was a lot of information. But this is the Forrester revenue waterfall. If you are not aware of it, we highly, highly recommend that you earmark this, put it in your back pocket, save it for later, use it in your current organization, or maybe take it with you for the next organization that you go to in your career journey. It is a great framework. So Okay, so let's talk about Bombora and the revenue waterfall. I teed this up in the earlier slide, but so Bombora lands here, right, in the detected stage of your waterfall. So this is where we get the opportunity to really hone in and see what accounts are actively surging on topics that are related to that product or service. And so we'll dive into how this is happening, how this specifically happens within Salesforce in a few slides down, but essentially you're able to leverage that intent data so that you can identify those target accounts that are within the detected stage. And then also you can track and measure the buyer's journey moving forward. So that's where Bombora sits and intent data sits within the funnel itself. Okay, so as a marketer, our focus, especially with ABM, is to measure account activation. Well, our full focus is to activate those accounts, right? And so then the question is, how do we measure account activation from lead to close? How are we measuring this? So we have the full circle, we have three key points for you to consider. We recommend these three things. So one, make sure that you're identifying those target accounts of your target account list that are showing intent, right? So actually Full Circle ABM does provide you with a comprehensive list based off of the information that Bombora is uploading within Salesforce, so that you can see specifically which accounts are reaching the detected stage of your funnel. The next thing that we recommend is to gain insight on that target account engagement. So this is key for identifying which campaigns are helping to drive what deals. And this is where, as a marketer, we can get creative and strategic and then optimize so that we can lean into what's performing well and cut what needs to be cut. And finally, we have a note on increasing pipeline speed. So this is really an opportunity for marketers to work well with sales, right? Our friends at sales, and help see of those campaigns that are driving what deals, what's working, and then optimize so that we can increase that pipeline speed. So we're ultimately able to see how long it takes for a target account to move through our ABM funnel and then set a goal, see if we can adjust and improve that. Okay, so let's talk about Full Circle ABM at a glance. So how does this work? How does this thing work? We talked a lot about the framework. We talked about a little bit about some benefits too. Let's talk about Full Circle at a glance. So first, your target account is set as detected. Again, that's where intent data comes in. Full Circle Insights then tracks that account as it goes through the funnel. Essentially, it has its own GPS system, you could say, as it goes through the funnel. Data then is collected by Full Circle on a custom object. And then as marketers, we're able to view and analyze the data from a set of reports and dashboards I'll dive into deeper in a few slides down, so that we can continue to adjust our campaigns. And a key point here is we're also able to access that historic performance specifically for accounts. Okay, so this is also kind of a huge slide here. There's a lot going on. So I'll just say this is Full Circle ABM is a unique platform. It helps you basically marry all of your marketing efforts across digital marketing, your intent data, marketing automation and sales, business analytics, so that you can improve your marketing campaigns and ultimately help the C-suite see what's driving actionable results. So, okay, so ultimately we suggest measuring the success of your ABM strategy. And how do we do that? Full Circle provides 4 different specific dashboards. So out of the box, it comes with best practice dashboards. There are 4 of them. Here they are. So I'll walk through them together. ABM Planning and Achieving. So the ABM Planning and Achieving dashboard provides key metrics that we need in order to effectively plan tomorrow's marketing activities, and also provides an at-a-glance view of key performing metrics. So some metrics that are available within this dashboard itself are walking through the different velocity rates between each funnel stage. You can also see the volume of your accounts at each stage of the funnel. This on this image right here, screen grab, the right top left, actually, I believe, image there, that's the call out. And then, so that's planning and achieving. We also have another dashboard specifically for account activation. So you're able to keep a pulse on that. This dashboard offers insights into your target accounts level of engagement with your marketing activities. So specifically enables us to identify what campaigns are performing well, what should be optimized or cut. And there are 18 components of this dashboard. We won't get into all of them, but some highlights are you are able to see the account showing intent, your detected to engage velocity, and the prioritized conversion rates, and a lot more there. Next, we have our ABM funnel trends. So this is where we get to see historic reference. So the funnel trends dashboard highlights account progress through the ABM funnel, and we can use this data essentially to identify and address any bottlenecks before they present any revenue challenges, identify emerging and established patterns that can be used to optimize our ABM strategy for the future. This historical reference is a key component for us. And then finally, we have a revenue dashboard. So this is where you get to be fully informed of how much revenue your specific ABM efforts are driving for your company. This contains 12 components, all provide very valuable insights here. You can see, including your targeted one revenue, attribution by campaign, your total revenue, win rate, and much, much more. So, and ultimately what this does is help you optimize for your ABM strategy with these data and insights. Some ways that you can do that here, as mentioned earlier, you can see the volume of target accounts by your current stage. So as you progress within your ABM efforts, you can see how many accounts are landing within each stage of your funnel and how you're progressing there. You can also look at things like attributed revenue, target versus non-target. So you can see, are your ABM efforts actually working? For the screen grab, most of the revenue is attributed to your target accounts. So you can say, yes, this is working. And finally, you have something, detected to engage velocity. So this is key, specifically in focusing on the detected stage of your ABM funnel and how how accounts are transitioning into the engage stage in terms of speed. And this is identified in terms of time, in terms of days here. So, so why should we do this? Why should we do this, right? So measuring ABM all within your CRM, essentially this allows you to have ABM at your fingertips. And here's some things that we've seen as bonuses. If you do access this data and you have this accessible within your CRM, you're able to align marketing and sales as a single source of truth for critical metrics. So alignment across the board within both marketing and sales is absolutely crucial, especially with ABM. Of course, you're able to identify those target accounts, which are showing intent and engaging with your marketing content. You're able to determine which campaigns are helping to drive what deals. Very, very, very useful for us as marketers. And ultimately, we're able to measure the success and the results of our ABM efforts all in one place. And that is that. So key takeaways for the webinar: intent data is absolutely crucial and can be a key signal to activate accounts. Intent data also can be measured in the context of a funnel. And then we would recommend learning the B2B revenue waterfall from Forrester if you don't already know it. And then also using Full Circle as your single source of truth for measuring account activation. Okay, and with that, we will turn it over to our live Q&A. Very, very excited to introduce Gavin Griffiths. He is our business analyst here at Full Circle Insights. He is an absolute, he knows so much about marketing measurement, and Salesforce. So he is, it's a pleasure to have him here to discuss any questions that you have. And then also Gabriella will be speaking to intent. If you have any questions around intent data or anything that she covered in her presentation, she's here to answer those questions as well. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to the team. Oops.
Flawless.